Okay guys, good morning.
Guys.
Actually, yesterday what happened was whatever we followed that was right, but we were not supposed to ping Google. Instead of that, we have to check whether our apt-get repository is working. So whenever we try to install or update from apt-get repository, actually it should pull all the data downloaded onto your private network, okay, and it should install. That is how we have to check. But actually what we have done was right, but what we checked is not correct. Okay, how we checked is not correct. So now I'm going to continue this with the same steps. Actually what we were where we were yesterday is actually we created one VPC. Okay, let me summarize. Once we created one VPC. With VPC we have one route table, network ACL and security group created. Okay, later we created two subnets and then we created route table. I'll tell you why it is like this. Okay, and we added, first of all, this was the default one. We have added internet gateway. We created one internet gateway and we added this to this route table and associated one subnet to make it public. So 10.0.1.0 is public network so that we can access uh, that particular instance from internet. Actually, we have already installed Apache on this and we are able to browse that portal, Apache default page. Okay, and we have also created one private network for netting purpose. But yeah, I'll tell you what is this black hole. And we added the NAT server here. Okay, whenever we try to check that, the testing was not done correctly, but the configuration was correct. Okay, now I created one NAT server. Okay, so here why we are using NAT server is we have two subnets, two different subnets. One is public and one is private. For public network, people can access it publicly, and we are able to log into that server publicly as well. Okay, so now what happening is we have private subnet as well, but we don't allow anyone log into private subnet directly using that private IP, but we can access it through our public server, public instance. But we don't have any internet connectivity inside that private instance. In order to enable internet connectivity inside private network, we have to create one NAT server. Okay, after creating this NAT server, we have to go to actions, network, and change source destination check disable. We have to disable this because this NAT server is an EC2 instance. EC2 instance only pass one-way traffic. So in order to pass both ways, we have to disable it. Okay, and we have to make sure that security group has HTTPS port enabled. We already have added yesterday, so I'm not doing that. And now we need to go to route table and we need to add that particular NAT server here. Why it is showing black hole is earlier I added one server and terminated it. So that server is not available now. So that is why it is showing black hole. Okay, see, remember this way. See, here you have two options. One is internet gateway and one is NAT. Whenever you add internet gateway, this subnet will become uh, public. Okay. Whenever you give NAT table, it will become private. So it will not become private, but it will be able to access internet inside the network. So now this is active, and let us check the associations. Okay, so for private we gave this. Okay, so now we will check the internet connectivity. Okay, so first of all I am logging into my private instance, sorry, public instance. From there I am logging into my private machine. Okay, this is my private instance. So what I have to do is I have to check whether internet is enabled or not. So everything is getting downloaded, all the updates. Okay, so for example, if I want to install apt-get install vim, this is editor. What is it saying? Already installed, sorry, this is already installed, that is why it is not installing. Sudo apt-get install tomcat 9, for example. Oh, 9 package is not there. 7. Yeah, it is installing. So it is actually downloading the application and installing on it. Okay, that means our private network has internet connectivity because it is able to download the packages and install. Okay, so now this is one of doing things, but actually why it is not recommended in most cases is, for example, in your private subnet you have 1,000 servers, for example. Okay, and all the internet traffic routing through NAT server. Okay, NAT server is another EC2 instance which acts as a NAT server. Okay, so if something happens and this NAT server is down, what will happen? You will not have connectivity for all your network. Okay, so I'm terminating now. Okay, you understand my point? If this server is down, you will not have internet access to your entire private network. That is the main disadvantage of having NAT server. Okay, we have another option. There are two options. One is this NAT server, and one is network is um, yeah, network is here. Just a minute. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, NAT gateway. Sorry, NAT gateway. There is a difference. I'll tell you now. So you got my point. If this server is down, you will not have internet connectivity for entire private network. So now it is down. Let us check whether I'm able to update any content. So it is not going anywhere. It is unable to download anything. Okay. So we lost connectivity because we terminated NAT server. Okay. To copy this, we have to do one thing. We have to create one NAT gateway. People don't prefer NAT gateway because this is very expensive. Remember that whenever you are practicing this, try to terminate it as soon as possible after testing that, but otherwise it will be very expensive for you. You will get very higher amount in bill. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm creating NAT gateway. Okay, I'm going to VPC, NAT gateways, and create NAT gateway. And in here, you have to select your public subnet. Okay, and here you have to create one elastic IP. Okay, there are two ways. You can simply go here and create your elastic IP address here, or by default whenever you are creating NAT gateway, it will ask you to create one. So I'm going here, create one. It is already created. So create NAT gateway. Why we are using public IP is, I'll tell you. In order to use your NAT gateway, ensure that you edit route table. Okay. Okay, fine. So actually we have to add this in our route table. So here it is no more available. So I need to remove this and add my NAT. Here it is showing NAT gateway. Okay, I'm saving it. Okay. So if you want to check elastic IP, yeah, this is the elastic IP it got created, and it is associated with NAT gateway. Okay, you can associate elastic IPs to EC2 instance as well. The main difference is when you launch any instance in public network like this, you will get one public IP. Whenever you restart your instance, this public IP will be changed. So that is why people use elastic IPs, but elastic IPs are a little costlier. Okay, so now I added my route table. Okay, now I'll check my internet connectivity. I'll run the same command again and I'll check whether I'm able to pull. Okay, I still don't have this. Let me check. Let me try to install other application. apt get install Apache 2. Yeah, now I'm able to install Apache. Okay, this is how normally you install. Let me try one more thing. Yeah. So now we got connectivity. So what I'm saying is you can either use NAT instance or NAT gateway. But whatever you have done, you have to add it in your private route table like this. Okay. So do you have any doubts still here? If not, I'll move ahead. So one more thing you have to notice that here there are two things. When I showed you the diagram, let me check again. Okay, no problem. There are two things for security. Here you see, for security there are two things. One is network ACL and one is security group. There are two things. Okay, the main difference between network ACL and security group is instant level security and network ACL is subnet level security. Whenever you check security groups, right, what you have found. For example, if we launch instances with security groups and we allow or deny port numbers so that traffic will come in and out. Okay, so these security groups are attached to EC2 instance. That means this is instance level security, that means server level security. Okay, but actually this security, there should be another security layer above subnets. Okay, that security will be provided by network ACLs. If you see here, yeah, here you have separate inbound rules. You have separate inbound rules for your ACLs, but this ACL is attached to your VPN. Okay, it has two subnets. So you can see here associated subnets. For these two subnets, these rules apply. Okay, so let us check what rules we have for network ACLs. Network ACL rules. See, these are the default inbound and outbound rules. But for everything, they gave certain numbers and description. See here, this is default one. You cannot edit or change numbers or something, but these are default one you have to use. For 100, it says HTTP traffic port number 80 allow. So allow inbound HTTP traffic from any IPv4 address. This is for HTTPS 110. Okay, 120 is for SSH and 130 is for RDP. SSH is for connectivity through SSH. So we use this to connect to Linux machines. We use RDP to connect to Windows machine. And these are the custom ports. Allow inbound return IP traffic from the internet. So you can give the range of IP addresses to allow those. Okay, if you have any custom IP addresses, you can simply allow. Okay, star is for all. Okay, what they are saying is denying all and allowing these. You can see this. Every port is denied, but 100. 100 represents port number 80. So they have closed all the ports, but 80. Okay. So this is the same for outbound rules. So let us play a bit with these network ACL rules. Okay, so this is, I'm going to my VPC. So you got the difference, right? Security group is the security for instance level. Okay, that is instance level security, and network ACL is ACL stands for access control list. Okay, how you control access, that will be defined by the rules we give to network ACL. So network ACL is subnet level, network level security. Okay, so it can be a question in your exam or in your interview. Please remember that. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to create a new network ACL. Okay. So my an ACL. So you have to choose which network you want to use it for. Okay. Create. Okay, and this one got created. By default, remember, by default, all traffic will be denied in inbound and outbound. And here, there is no subnet associated. Okay, so what you have to do is, you have to go to here, edit, and add these subnets. I'm adding these two subnets. Oh, sorry. I'm not adding my private. I'm only adding public because I can check that. Okay. It is not necessary to add my private. Okay. If you see, this is earlier here there were two, but now I created new network ACL and I moved my public subnet to here. Okay, only one subnet can be inside one network ACL. Okay, one subnet cannot span in different networks ACLs. So now it came from there to here. Right. Now let me try. Earlier in my previous network ACL, port 80 was enabled, but here all ports were denied. So if I check this, I will not be able to access this portal, this website. You see here, it is still rotating. Actually, it doesn't work. It fails after some time. Okay. Here, what you have to do? Let it fail for now. I'll do is this. So it doesn't work. Okay, it will fail after a while. So now I'm going to add my rules. So 100. You have to refer the documentation in order to understand what is 100. This is defined by AWS itself. So you have to use that number. Okay. So now I added 100 and my port is HTTP. Okay. Say this port is HTTP TCP and allow from anywhere. Anywhere is always remember anywhere is 0.0.0.0 that is 4 zeros slash 0 and I'm saying allow. Save. So I have two inbound rules. So now if I refresh this, let me browse it again. Okay. So we need to add one more inbound rule. Okay. That is, I'll tell you what it is. That is 500. Okay. This is custom TCP URL. It is called ephemeral port. Okay. 5 and it is from everywhere 0.0.0.0 slash 0 save. Okay. So I have allowed to. So I need to check which. Yes, this is the one. I think I need to add the same in other outbound rules as well. So let me add it. Actually, you can have 65,535 ports. Okay, up to here you can keep adding your you can use ports. Those are the maximum number of, that is the maximum number of ports you can give. Yeah, now it can. So that you have to add the same rules here and there as well. Okay, inbound or not. Now it can. So this is how you have to create network ACL, and you can define in subnet level which port you want to access. Okay, even you can access or deny you can access or deny network ACLs. I mean this traffic from your IP address. For example, um, what is my IP? My IP is 124, 123, 66, 35. Okay, instead of zeros here, if I mention my IP, then this website will only be accessible from my IP. Okay, you have given zeros, that is why it will be accessible from all the IPs. Okay, remember that 00 means all. If you mention your network ID or your specific IP address, you will only be able to access from your particular IP. Okay, I showed you this when we checked for in EC2 security groups. Okay, you can try the same and check whether it is working for you or not. But remember that this is very important thing, VPC. Please do practice and let me know if you have any doubts. Do you have any doubts till now? I, I keep on asking you, but nobody is asking me any doubt. Okay. Please do practice, otherwise you will not understand. You will remember by tomorrow. Seriously. Even sometimes I do mistakes and I do misconfiguration and check again and debug the stuff. I do all those things. Because the more you practice, the more you can get. Okay. But if someone asks you in interview for any option or any question, you will not be able to answer unless you practice this at home. I want you to, I think, I don't know whether all of you guys have already created um, AWS account or not. Okay, let me discuss a few more things about this network ACLs. Actually, your VPC actually comes a default a network ACL, and by default it allows all outbound and inbound traffic. Okay, so what I mean to say is this is the default one which allowed all traffic for 80 port. And you can create a custom network ACL. By default, each custom network ACL denies, remember this, by default, each network ACL denies all inbound and outbound traffic until you add rules. Okay, now we created my NACL network ACL. By default, everything was denied and we were not able to access our Apache web page. Okay, and each subnet in your VPC must be associated with a network ACL. At least one. You can have multiple network ACLs, but one ACL should be associated with one subnet. Okay. If you don't explicitly associate a subnet with network ACL, the subnet is automatically associated with the default network. Okay. By default, anyways, it will be in subnet. And you can associate a network ACL with multiple subnets. Okay. However, a subnet can be associated with only one network ACL at a time, as I told you. Okay. When you associate a network ACL with a subnet, the previous association is removed. This will be your interview question if you are going with any AWS interview. Okay, a network ACL contains a numbers list of rules. Okay, that is evaluated in order, starting with the lowest number rule. See, for example, if you have 100 and if you have 99 rule, and it will check rule number 99 first. Okay, and a network ACL has separate inbound and outbound rules. Each rule can either allow or deny traffic. So these things you need to remember. And one last thing, if you don't have any doubts up to here, one last thing I'm going to discuss is in AWS, that is Route 53. Okay, Route 53. So what is Route 53 basically? Route 53 is a DNS service. Here it provides the DNS, name resolutions. That means IP to host names and host name to IPs. If you have any networking knowledge, you can understand this concept better. Okay, no problem if you don't have any. So Route 53 is the DNS for AWS networks. Okay, so here the high level entity is like you can see hosted zones. So this is a website I created for my my friend. So actually you first of all you have to create one hosted zone. Okay, for example, domain name is example.com. Remember, here you have to select public or private. Normally most people use this DNS resolution for website hosting and exposing their application publicly. That is why I'm keeping it default public host. So domain example invalid or in an invalid format. So it is not taking. So onlinedevops.com. Okay, hosted zone. If you have, see, these are the NS record, name servers record, and SOA records. Okay, so these are the two records you get after creating hosted zone. Okay, SOA SOA stand for start of authority. Okay, start of authority. Normally what will give if you are trying to host any website, for example, you know how to host S3 hosting. Okay, and if you have your domain name at GoDaddy or any other domain name registrar, you have to update these name server values there, so that when someone hits, let me check let me tell you my friend's website. Okay. Okay, now I'll check whois.sc. This is the website for whois.sc is a website where we can check details of any domain name. Okay, if you check here, these are my name server values. I have updated these name server values in my GoDaddy account. Okay, so that name server values were given by AWS Route 53 itself when I created name servers. Got it? So whenever someone types this homelybegins.com, then it will check the name servers inside that, and it will direct to our Route 53. Okay, and in Route 53 you can create record sets here. Okay, what is record set? What is a record set? Is a DNS entry. So see here, I have created record sets for three things. Okay, one is this is a record. Okay, this is my empty record set. I didn't mention any name here, and I selected my S3 bucket. Okay, I created alias and I selected my S3 bucket, and for this I gave my DNS as www and I selected my S3 bucket. So okay, so here you can find all your entities. I mean, if you have any ELBs enabled for your web server, you can select your ELBs. But here I selected that. And this is the test one that day we tested, right? I'm deleting this record. So this is one entry, test dot something dot some, test dot domain name. This is also one entry. Okay, so I don't need it anymore, so I delete. So let me tell you now, go back to my this one. Yeah, here how to. So what I'm saying is this will give by default you will get name server values and start of authority records. Okay, name server values will be updated with your domain name if you have any, otherwise you can let it be. Okay, and the main important thing is you can create uh, s dot s dot uh, onlinedevops.com, and here you can give IP address of your web server or anything. Okay, so if you create this, whenever someone types test.onlinedevops.com, it will be redirected to that particular IP. Okay, I don't have added these name server values to my domain name onlinedevops.com, so I cannot browse this. Okay, this is one type of record. This is called a record, alias. Okay, another record type is for example test2. There are so many records. These are the list of record types. One is a records. Here it is given IPv4 address. So you can mention IP as a value, and this is CNAME. In CNAME you can give uh, DNS name as a address. For example, test dot something or S3 URL or something. Okay, let me not here. Let me check there itself. So I have already domain name, right? So this is my host name, right? So you already have one web server and the portal is running. Let us check. Now you already have this. Okay. Some closing. You already have this. So let us try to access that with my domain. Okay. First of all, I create one alias record. Okay. So I'll give test one. My here I select a record, and here I give the IP. Okay, and create. So now my URL is test1 dot, my DNS name is test1 dot homelybegins.com. So now test1 dot Normally for the first time it takes some time. It will be redirected to this IP address. Okay, in the meantime, we will see one more thing. First of all, let me check whether we have our S3 site that day we created, right? The name is not being resolved. Normally it takes some time for the resolution. Okay, it doesn't reflect immediately, but after some time it will be redirected to this. Okay, so I don't have that bucket. Okay, anyways, so and this is just the example you can try if you have any domain name. Okay, name resolutions normally take some time. And one more thing is CNAME record. CNAME record will be like this. For example, test2, and if I have this S3 bucket, more, for example, this is the URL. This is the URL, and I add this URL here, and I change this to CNAME. Okay. So normally it takes some time. That is why it is no. Otherwise, SEK. Okay, you can try that, but what I'm trying to say is these are the record types you can create. Okay, and few more records I'll tell you. So there are two things. If you give the value directly here, or you can choose something from the drop down here. Okay, there are two options. Okay, TTL means time to live, how long it should check before it fails. Okay, so MX record is used for mail exchange. If you are using any email server, then you can use you can use this. And this is for IPv6 address. This is text, so you can display text or input to anything. And PTR, SPR, central policy framework. You have different type of uh, records. Okay, so I'm deleting these two for now. So the main difference, if you are using any traffic manager, you can mention your traffic manager IP as an alias, so that it will route from the traffic manager. But remember that each public public website should have a record for each server, or if that server is in Elastic Load Balancer, then you can simply mention the Elastic Load Balancer's name here itself. Okay, is it clear, or do you have any doubts? Let me summarize this. Route 53 is used as a DNS in AWS. Okay, let me delete this. Okay, in order to delete this, first of all, I have to delete the extra records I added. Okay, then only I can delete my hosted zone. Okay, right. So 53 is the port number of DNS server. That is why it is named as Route 53. Okay. This would be your interview question as well. Why is 53 in Route 53? That means Route 53 is a port number for DNS service. Okay, and inside Route 53 we create hosted zone with a domain name. So each hosted zone will have one domain name. Okay, and by default each hosted zone will be created with name server values and um, SO record. Okay, later we can add these other records. So there are different type of records: A records, CNAME record, MX records, etc. Mostly you use alias record, that means A record and CNAME record. A record is the value you give to A record is an IP address, and the value you give to CNAME is a DNS name. Okay, that is the main thing. And one more thing is, um, you can also access while creating a record. If you select the alias as, you can also access your services in AWS. For example, it might be your S3 bucket or Elastic Load Balancer, CloudFormation distribution, okay, Elastic Beanstalk, anything. Okay, that is what you can do in your Route 53. So do you have any doubts till now in AWS, Route 53, VPC, anywhere? Please ask me. Okay, if you don't have any doubts, we will end this session now.